Hello guys, welcome back to Go Discs. In this installment we're looking at Yes and their album Talk from 1994. I regard this as the last great Yes album, believe it or not. We'll get into why, really. So, 1994, at this time, Yes had finished off the previous album, of course, was Union from 1991. That reunited 8 members of Yes, of course. So, John Anderson, Chris Squire, Tony Kaye, Bill Bruford, Steve Howe, Rick Wakeman, Alan White, and Trevor Rabin, of course. And obviously, it's a bit of a hodgepodge album, that was, and obviously, but the tour they did afterwards in 91 and 92 went down successfully well. Obviously, that didn't go back, didn't last really. Of course, as an 8-man person, many people, different egos and everything else. It's like, you can't sustain that for a good number of years, no way. So they did the tour, of course, and that was it really. And so we returned to this one. So this featured the lineup, of course, who did 90125 and Big Generator: Anderson, Squire, Rabin, White, and Kaye. So it's returned to that one. It's more of an, people say it's the 90125 of the 1990s, and so let's get to it. So the album, of course, is more Trevor Rabin produced. Trevor Rabin, again, was more of a hands-on person, of course, more hands-on person, musician, producer throughout his time in Yes, for his about 12 years, I think, when he was in Yes, really. More hands-on with 90125, and also did some great stuff for them, of course. Made Yes get into the mainstream, with, of course, On of a Lonely Heart, stuff like Leave It, Rhythm of Love as well. Love will find a way, all that type of stuff. And here he's basically just become, it's like his full circle album, of course. Obviously producing, I think at the time doing 80s standard mainstream rock, of course. Here we get more of a lyrical, I would say more, more power. I don't know what's the word. It's just like, it's finally become, it's his version of sort of a Yes album, really, in a way. One thing to mention is, because they did this digitally with computers with something called Mock of the Unicorn, which is very early stuff like Pro Tools or something. It's very, very early stuff of that time, really, according to the technology. And obviously, just to carry, obviously, I think it's like becoming the first major artist to actually do this sort of thing first, really. So that took a while. That did 92, 93. They sort of recorded the album, and everything else was released on 94, and yeah, it's an interesting album. It is. I mean, because I do consider the last major Yes album because of how interesting it is, how it sounds. There's a lot of good songs on it as well, which I do enjoy. And yeah, let's go for the songs. So first we've got is The Call-In, which is sort of like one of the main standard tracks for Talk. It was released as a single. I first came across this actually when Yes released the 35th anniversary compilation album, because there's 2 different versions. The European version's 2-disc, and there's the US edition's a 3-disc edition, really. But The Call-In was on both of them, really. And I really enjoyed it, actually. Coming off like stuff like from, the whole 70s Yes and the 80s Yes, really. You come to the 90s stuff, I think that's actually a pretty good song. Obviously, it's a single edit, of course. The version on here is, again, the full version. It's actually, again, pretty good, actually. Very good. Because I think Rabin used the picking technique, really. Excuse me, I forgot about words, everything. Rather, use a plectrum or guitar pick, really. So it's always a bit of a different thing. It made it more of an organic sound, really. And you thought, that'll work, really. Also down to the production as well. If you look at it, it's very, very pounding it is. Alan, throughout this album, Alan White's drums are very pounding as hell, like very just like very, very much like very sort of massive sounding, really. Yeah, but it's a good song. I like it. It's a really good opener, so it works nicely. Second track is I Am Waiting. A bit more slower, of course. It sort of starts up slower. They sort of builds up like it's like a wavelength, really. Like it builds up, then it sort of goes down again. It's sort of like starts gentle, then hard hitting, then gentle, then hard hitting. Decent, actually. It's an okay song. It's not one of the best songs, really, that for Yes, really. And yeah, it's pretty alright, actually. Nice bit of melody, of course, with the guitar and everything. very sort of melancholy. It's like, again, balladry type style really, but it's decent. Real Love is next. This is track number 3. It's all right. I won't say it's the best song. It's probably one of the weaker songs on the album, really. I don't know. I don't know. It's never really clicked with me as much, really. But it's there. It's been played live as well, and yeah, interesting. Next we've got is Stay or Play, another favourite of mine actually from Talk, along with the Call In. Really good, very pounding song, really, very rocking. It is, a lot of interesting bits, a lot of interesting passages as well in the middle. Really good stuff. Absolutely love that. I don't think it was never played live actually. It might have been interesting actually. They might have done in rehearsals, maybe some couple of shows I've never been seen, but not for the ones I've seen on bootlegs really. But I don't know. It's about that. But it's a good song, really good pounding song. Then we've got Walls, a very interesting one. This is, I think I think they mentioned because there was a CD-ROM to do with Talk actually. You can still watch it on YouTube. It's about 20 minutes long it is. And they mentioned that Raven mentioned this is like the last song they actually did for the album, so it's like the last piece of the puzzle. And it originates back into like 1990. This does, so it's been around for a couple of years. It was actually co-written by him and Roger Hodgson, who was in Supertramp at the time. Well, not really. Less Supertramp. Back in the early 80s, I think. And also he went solo. But he collaborated with Roger Hodgson on this song around the time when Union was still being produced, and there was sort of like suggesting that he would have been the next John Anderson or something, like to front that version of Yes, really at that time, or Billy Sherwood as well. There's things about that really. It's good. I do really enjoy it. I like the guitar stuff. It's like it's a radio friendly song. It is. And I really do enjoy it. There's some good versions. The Letterman version that they do, it's like a short version. I do love the ending bit which is all like Raymond does they do the solo, of course, but they're shortening it, like it's like a 4-minute thing, limit or something really. And they basically go on and just go like and they do like a driving thing, of course, and just go like that. I really like that version actually. That live version on Letterman, pretty good stuff. Again, it's just really a really good song. It is. There's another version that sort of existed on 90124, which is Rabin's version of the demos they did, like early demos of songs. Love Will Find a Way, On of a Lonely Heart, Changes is another one. That sort of exists on there, and it's like again like the 99 demo. Of course, you get Roger Hodgson on that song, on that version, which you can still get somewhere if it's anywhere. I think it's VoicePrint they released it on. Yeah, but it's a good one. I really do enjoy it. I mean, it was also a hit as well, another single. The penultimate song, of course, is track 6, Where Will You Be? Where was it? Or where'd you be? Or where will you be? Or where would you be? Something like that, really. It's all right. It's a more mellow song. It's got like symphonic congas on it, percussion and everything else. Very sort of chill, very John Anderson. It's very sort of like the John Anderson talking track, really. At this point, you have stuff like Holy Lamb, or Anger What on Union. It's that sort of thing. It's like a weird spiritual thing, really. That sort of pops up really with Yes albums, especially with some tracks that's a bit like that, really. Or maybe something like Take the Water to the Mountain type situation. It's all right. I mean, it's been played live as well, so it's been a concert staple in 1994. But there we go. And finally, we end up with Endless Dream, which is the epic that finishes off Talk. Over about 15 minutes long, sort of similar left to Awaken, really. I do enjoy this, actually. I do like the intro with the tinkling piano at the beginning. It sort of sets up it does. And it's like very rocking, powerful. Like you really get sucked into it, actually. And then you get some interesting vocal stuff as well. Interesting effects on the guitar as well. I saw back and forth with stereo. It's actually... It's like songs for a whole kitchen sinking, but it's actually interesting to go through, really. And also you have like the big sorbage, like when the chant Talk and stuff, like it's basically it's sort of its title track in a way, sort of, but it's just interesting. It's been to 3 parts as well, but it really goes ahead, really. Obviously trying to do that live must have been interesting, really. Well, there we go. So that's the songs, really. So But afterwards, of course, they did the tour, which of course was the five. Well, actually, there were six of them actually, because Billy Sherwood joined on as an extra member, extra musicians, extra vocals, everything really. So he stayed on. He sort of stayed on until 2000, I think he stayed on till, and continued, did some producing and engineering work, of course, and did collaborations with Chris Squire, then returned back until when Chris Squire passed away. He fills his bass roles in now. So there you go. So he's sort of like his prodigy, like his successor. Fair enough, really. He's taken the mantle of the Squire. Absolutely. So yeah, obviously the tour was so successful, but even though people are sort of pining for more of the 70s output, really, you know, you still get roundabout, you get You and I, Heart of the Sunrise, so maybe yours is noticed, I think, as well. But obviously they wanted a bit more and more, obviously, and since then, really, you know, you get all the 70s stuff you do. You know, you don't get much other stuff as well. I think the problem is now with Yes, they are sort of getting more, they're more formulaic and more pastiche, they are. You know, again, it's like, you know, 70 stuff rolling out, of course. Obviously at this point now, the only members that are still around is Alan White and Steve Howe, even though Alan White is still occasionally playing drums, really. You know, obviously you get some drummer called Jay filling in for him. You've got Jeff Downs as well. Billy Sherwood is filling the role for Squire, which is absolutely fine. I can see the point of reason why for his involvement. And you've got John Davis and even, you know, trying, you know, sort of similar. Fair enough, really. But I find this, you know, this is like the end point for Yes. I think for me, really. I did get in a box set that I can, you know, that was released with Open Your Eyes, The Ladder, Magnification, and also a bits of the, I think it's the Montreux show from 2003 on there as well. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know. I find Yes just feels a bit like it's sort of sagged afterwards. You know, with Keys to, I think from Keys to Ascension onwards, it sort of started to really dip. It sort of dipped when Open Your Eyes came out, but obviously it started to really sort of lose its steam, really. Of course, even though they're still going, and everything else, it's like, please stop. Of course. But I think Talk in its way is just it's the last season album for me, really, just because I enjoy a good listening experience from it, really. You know, a lot of good songs, there's a good bunch of songs on it, of course, and obviously it's done well. After this, of course, Trevor Abraham left. He pursued a composing career doing movies. First film I think he did was The Glimmer Man, and obviously he did The Rock. He did Bad Boys 2 as well. I think Twister was another one he actually worked on, I think. But he's done quite a lot, actually. You know, if you look at what he's been doing since then, he's been scoring some big blockbuster movies. So good for him, really. So he's done extremely well, being a good musician, good guitarist, singer, songwriter, and now composer. Good for him. Tony Kaye, he went on. I think he left and sort of did his own thing, really. He did reunite with Yes for the 50th anniversary thing. He did, and there's I think there's some footage of him, of course, with just one keyboard and Love Jackie just doing one-handed playing, like he always does, which is fair enough. I mean, he's all right. Tony Kaye. Obviously, I think more so he was more pushed aside and never really utilised as much, really. Obviously with Rabin, you know, with Rabin taking on keyboard stuff as well, most of the time throughout. When they were sort of working on 925 Big Generator, also, you know, bits and pieces. You know, there might have been some points with Tony Kaye, you know, doing some interesting keyboard parts, but I don't think, it's not too sure what he was doing, what he might have been doing. You know, you could probably hear it in songs, but you can't really hear as well. Like, it's one of those, is that sort of thing, really. But I think he's sort of underrated player. Who knows, really? Well, yeah, indeed. So that's it, really. Talk by Yes from 1994. This is, and I thought, why not do this? Of course, so it's decent enough to do. I do enjoy it. I've listened to it recently as well, and I think it's still a good album. And yeah, I just try it. I get a good experience out of it, really. So I'll probably say, you know, even though, you know, people probably think Union's probably like the downfall of it. I don't know. I like Union, actually. It's a guilty pleasure album for me to listen to, and I really do enjoy it. I think Talk is the last one I really enjoyed. I think since then I just really think like, you know, it's like I'm not getting a good fulfillment from these albums, really, that Yes I've been doing since 1996, really. But there we go. So there we go. Talk. What are your thoughts on it? If you're familiar with Yes, if you listen to this album and see what you think, just see what you think. Actually, it was released on Vintage Music. It's been reissued on vinyl a couple of years ago, actually, but it's been made out of print because it was released on Vintage Music by Phil Carson. So obviously it's been out of print for a number of time, but you can still find it somewhere, really. It's in a box set as well, which I think Eagle Records released as well, which I actually got, how I got my physical copy of Talk, really, from that box set. But that's it. See what you guys think. Anyway, I've been talking about Yes, Talk, 994. See you guys.